All right, we're going live on YouTube in a second. Okay. All right, we're on, and I'm switching to the video.
You are somebody that I don't know, but you're taking shots at me like it's Patron, and I'm just like, damn. It's 7 a.m. Say it in the street, that's a knockout. But you say it in a tweet, that's a cop-out. And I'm just like, hey, are you okay? And I ain't trying to mess with your self-expression, but I've learned a lesson that stressing and obsessing about somebody else is no fun. And snakes and stones never broke my bones, so you need to calm down. You're being too loud. And I'm just like, you need to just stop. Like, can you just not step on my gown? You need to calm down. You are somebody that we don't know, but you're coming at my friends like a missile. Why are you mad when you could be glad? Sunshine on the street at the parade, but you would rather be in the dark age. Just making that sign must have taken all night. You just need to take several seats and then try to restore the peace and control your urges to scream about all the people you hate. 'Cause shade never made anybody less gay, so you need to calm down. You're being too loud. And I'm just like, you need to just stop. Like, can you just not step on his gown? You need to calm down. And we see you over there on the internet, comparing all the girls who are killing it. But we figured you out. We all know now. We all got crowns. You need to calm down. You need to calm down. You need to calm down. You're being too loud. Being too loud. And I'm just like, you need to just stop. Can you stop? Like, can you just not step on our gowns? You need to calm down. I love it when you call me señorita. I wish I could pretend I didn't need ya, but every touch is ooh la la la. It's true la la la. Oh, I should be running. Oh, you keep me coming for ya.
Land in Miami, the air was hot from summer rain, sweat dripping off me before I even knew her name. La la la, you felt like ooh la la la, yeah, no. Sapphire and moonlight, we danced for hours in the same tequila sunrise. Her body fit right in my hands, la la la. You felt like ooh la la la, yeah. I love it when you call me señorita. I wish I could pretend I didn't need ya, but every touch is ooh la la la. It's true la la la. Ooh, I should be running. Ooh, you know I love it when you call me señorita. I wish it wasn't so damn hard to leave
멈추지 못한 태도 간녀린 몸에 쏙 가려진 볼륨은 두 배로 거침없이 찍힌 굳이 보진 않지 넌지 블랙하면 핑크 우린 예쁘장한 savage 원하던 대놓고 뺐지 너무래도 칼로 무배기 두 손엔 카드칼 배치 궁금하면 해봐 팩트체크 눈 높인 꼭대기 물 만난 물고기 좀 톡해 난 toxic 유혹해 I'm foxy 두 번 생각해 흔한 남들처럼 착한 척이 못하니까 착각하지 마 쉽게 웃어주는 건 날 위한 거야 아직은 잘 모르겠지 그저 원하면 test me 넌 불보듯이 뻔해 만만한 걸 원했다면 Oh wait till I do what I hit you with that 뚜루뚜루뚜 Oh yeah oh yeah hit you with that 뚜루뚜루뚜 Oh yeah oh yeah Blackpink 지금 내가 걸어가는 거린 Blackpink four-way 사거리 동서남북 사방으로 running 이는 버킷리스트 싹 다 버려 널 당기는 것도 멀리 밀치는 것도 제 멋대로 하는 bad girl 조건 싫어하고 누가 뭐라 하던 with a bass drop it's another banger 두 번 생각해 흔한 남들처럼 착한 척은 못하니까 착각하지 마 쉽게 웃어주는 건 날 위한 거야 아직은 잘 모르겠지 굳이 원하면 test me 난 불보듯이 뻔해 만만한 걸 원했다면 Oh wait till I do what I hit you with that 뚜루뚜루뚜 Oh yeah oh yeah hit you with that 뚜루뚜루뚜 Oh yeah oh yeah What you gonna do when I come through with that What you gonna do when I come through with that 뜨거워 뜨거워 like fire 뜨거워 like fire like pink Oh yeah oh yeah oh yeah oh yeah 뜨거워 like fire 뜨거워 like fire hit you with that 뚜루뚜루뚜
We couldn't turn around till we were upside down. I'll be the bad guy now, but no, I ain't too proud. I couldn't be there.
Oh, there we go. All right, everybody. There we go. So welcome to the Monte Vista. Uh-oh. Hang on a second. Give me one moment, everybody. Okay, we should be good now. You guys can hear me? Yeah. Okay, so welcome to the Monte Vista Track Field 2020 virtual banquet. We're going to try to get rid of this echo. I'm not the only one hearing it, right?
Hey, Coach, if you mute the YouTube,
I'm going to kill the YouTube.
yeah, if you're in the Zoom, don't have, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, everybody. That's me. That's my issue. All right, let's try this again. So welcome to our virtual banquet. Hopefully you guys are all properly signed in. And I'd like to welcome you to what we wish we were all together and we weren't have to deal with those issues. And we were able to see each other and hug each other. And we were talking about all the races we had already won. But instead, we're going to make the best of this. So first thing I'd like you to do for all the Monte Vista athletes is let's do something interactive to get it started. And I think most of us who've been on the Friday calls know how to do this. So if you can go to Poll EV, I will now make that active. Give me 1 second. And all right, full screen. And here we go. Awesome. So this is not at all the same as being able to wave at each other and being able to see each other sitting around the cafeteria, but it is kind of the best we can do. I think we all feel this situation where, we're used to being in a community and a community, whether it's a team or our school or our classes where we see everybody regularly. And now we feel incredibly individual. And I know that. So one thing I wanted to kind of touch base on is a little bit is looking back and seeing both as the team and for a few other activities, what you feel is really as we have this kind of crash course in being individuals, what it is like to be in an individual sport. So I'm going to come after this. You guys are awesome. It is great. I wish you were all here in front of me. But let's go to this question. So for track and field, people tell us that that's an individual sport. Where do you feel about that on this range? At the top is strongly agree. Yep, it's an individual. It's all about me. And at the bottom is, nope, it's just a team. It's probably a blend for most of us, right? I bet, I just want to say as I'm looking at this, and I hope you guys can all see it too, and for the parents, I think this team is different. My guess is that if you ask most track and field teams, I wish I could do a true or false here to ask you guys right off the bat. But my guess is that you can, my guess is that most teams would say that this is pretty individual. So let's think about another activity now. Whoops. If I can, there we go. So what do you think about this question? When you take a math test, you feel like that's individual or is this more about learning? Yeah, exactly, right?
Oh, coach, I think we can't see the bar graph results. Remember like last time how like we were trying to see the bar graph results?
Were you not able to see the other ones either?
Yeah, not on this one. It's kind of like the slide still says grab your phone and log into pollev.com/Kirk Flatow 552.
Okay, let me try. I'm getting a pause on the share. Let me try if I can do this again. Uh-huh. How about now?
Yep, can see it.
Okay, good. All right. Yeah, I think it's something just froze on the app. So, okay, so this looks very different where test taking is different than being on a team, which I would think it would be. Let's try one more question here. So, what about when you, for a lot of us who've been stressed out about this, seniors and juniors, freshmen might be a little bit more relaxed about this. But other than your parents looking over your shoulder saying, boy, if you don't get into Harvard, you're going to bring shame on our whole family. Do you feel like you're pretty on your own here? Maybe you get some help, what kind of support? Yeah. All right. So this is kind of what I'd expect, right? I mean, these activities feel different than being on a team, even in a sport where we say it's an individual sport. So let's see if I can get out of this and go back to slide share. Okay, I'm going to get better at this, you guys, and probably by then we'll be out of quarantine. So I want to talk to you guys about something that might not seem like it has anything to do with core strength or 400 splits. And that's what you guys might not know a ton about, to the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. So West Point is an interesting place. I mean, if you're talking like trying to get into college someplace, this is not the easiest place to get to. You have to start your application junior year. It's not something you do in January of your senior year. You have to get nominated by your senator or representative or the vice president. So you have to go to Kamala Harris and say, hey, I really want to go to West Point, and convince her to nominate you. There's a fitness assessment. Almost every cadet that gets in was a varsity athlete or team captains. And they're also academic stars. So you're basically talking about somebody who could get admitted to Harvard and also could maybe play sports at Stanford, so it's a tough thing to get into. And the process takes a long, long time. 20% of the people who get into West Point drop out. And most of them in the first summer. So think about that. I mean, who is going to take 2 years to get into a place and then quit in the first 2 months? And not only, I mean, that's not just an interesting question, it's also a really, really important question for a lot of people, like the people at West Point who are running this thing. Because it's very expensive to get somebody in there and start training them and then having them drop out. And so they don't want this to happen. And yet they've also been running this institution for 200 years and they still can't get it right. So there's a lot of reasons to want to figure this out. So why is it that people drop out? And especially in the first couple months? Well, there's one easy answer, which is what you have to do those first couple months. And that's something called Beast Barracks. And Beast Barracks is what they say, and you can look this up on the West Point website, and it seems pretty simple, where it just says, we're helping you transition from civilian life to military life. And by the way, remember, you're 17 or 18 years old, and they're now going to transition you to military life. And so they believe that you need to do this through a crash course introduction. And so here's a typical day at Beast Barracks. You get up at 5 a.m. It's right there. I lost most of you because I can't get most of you to be at the track at 7 a.m. on a Saturday, 1 day a week. So getting up at 5:30, you're in line half an hour later, and then physical training, which is, pretty arduous. And then you get half an hour for what they call, and I love the term, personal maintenance. So you have to get clean, shave, do whatever else you need to do in half an hour, then have breakfast. And then your day goes on just like that, completely planned all day. So you can kind of see where this might lead to some dropout rate. And so the people are trying to figure this out. How do we get people more, how do we predict more who's really going to want to do this and really is going to stick with it? And one of the people who had a lot to do with that is somebody we all know. And this, as you'd expect, if it's a Coach Flatow presentation, almost everything comes back to Angela Duckworth, our friend. So Angela, as a young postdoc student, this is one of the places she really made her mark, is she went into West Point and she had her first and early version of the grit test, measuring things like persistence and flexibility of mind, or kind of what we'd call is Carol Dweck would call having what is it, open mind. You'd say, do you have persistence in the face of obstacles? Do you have a growth mindset? That's what I was searching for with the Carol Dweck or the Professor Dweck remark. How do you learn? How do you accept this? And so she went in and she was able to show very quickly that she could do a better job of predicting who was going to make it through Beast Barracks than actually the West Point people did, even after 200 years. And so that was one of Angela Duckworth's really big moments in psychology. One of the things she doesn't talk about, or didn't talk about in her book, Grit, is something else that she and some other scientists did. And they were measuring stress levels, but not through interviews, but actually through physical tests. And what they did is they looked at physiological biomarkers during Beast and then during finals, when they took final exams that first year. And they found that actually people were more stressed in finals, or the cadets were more stressed in finals than they were during Beast. Maybe not physically stressed in the sense of being exhausted, but the stress markers, which, and frankly, I wouldn't be able to do justice to describing what these markers are, but they're looking at things like blood count and chemical changes and things like that mark stress. And so it's not just your opinion. So the question is, or a question you might ask is, why do people feel, or did the cadets feel more stressed when they were taking finals than during Beast? And what Angela believes, they've never been able to, this is one of these things where it's hard to prove. And scientists have told me before that you spend a lot of time trying to prove something that might be inherently obvious. And so, I trust the opinion of people like Angela or Dr. Duckworth to figure this out. And what she believes is that the reason people feel more stressed during finals than Beast is all a matter of mindset. That during Beast, the feeling that people have is that it's all of us against the Beast, all of us against the system, all of us against this hurdle that we have to meet. Whereas finals, we're all being measured against each other. So it's a very different feeling of being part of a team that's trying to conquer some major obstacle together, or versus whether you're trying to be better than all the other people around you, so you feel like you're alone on this. And that's a huge change. And this is Angela's message, which she says, which I think is really relevant to what we're going through right now as we go against the pandemic. Right now we're all alone. We're all we're not at school. We're not in classrooms. We're not on our team, our cross-country team or a track team. We're all alone. And it's easy to feel like nobody understands exactly how we feel and that we're fighting this battle alone. But her reminder is to say, well, remember, in the most fundamental sense, this is really us against the pandemic, us as a family, us as a community, frankly, as a whole world. So in some ways, our suffering is unique, but in other ways, it's universal. We're all going through it, similar things in our own way. And that makes supporting each other even more important. Going back to what they learned at West Point, the people were strong in a very, very tough situation that be in Beast Barracks, the sense that you were in this together really helped. So we can control our own mindset, how we think about stress, how we frame situations, where we look to help, but it's not always easy, right? And so I thought about this a little bit because as I was getting ready for this talk and deciding whether this was going to be the theme or not. And I remembered something that Stephanie Brown Trafton, who we met last Friday, talked about. And she didn't talk about it on Friday, actually. And I kind of wish she did now. She tells a story about when she was a young elite thrower. And in one of her first international competitions, here she is, I mean, young girl, I mean, young 6'3" girl, in an international competition. And there's this older, more seasoned, huge, intimidating Cuban thrower. She tells the story great. And during warmups, as after the Cuban thrower made her throws and Stephanie was walking into the ring to take her throws, the Cuban athlete walks out and just bangs right into her. I mean, just kind of gives that shoulder hit, right? And I think for all of us who have ever been in sports where there aren't supposed to be contact, somebody bangs into you on purpose, it's kind of shocking, right? It's like, I mean, for tennis players, when you're changing sides and somebody kind of bangs into you and there's no need to, or, grabbing your blocks at the start and there should be nothing here and somebody just kind of bangs into you. It's kind of shocking. And she remembers that and being thrown off her game. And she decided later that even though she didn't feel any more confident, she was going to just act confident. And I remember her telling me these stories about doing things like deciding to tie her shoes in the middle of the ring or do things that just made her and stand out in front and just kind of open up her arms, give a little stretch right in front of everybody and making sure everybody had to go around her. Even though she didn't feel confident, she said, well, I'm going to just fake it till I make it. And I think the same thing here is if you're having trouble, you say, okay, coach, it's really easy to say, let's just think about stress differently. Let's frame situations differently. That's, it's hard. You're right. It is hard. It's just knowing that other people are sharing your suffering doesn't necessarily make it easy. Or just like when your mother says, hey, there are people starving in Africa, it does make it easier to eat that horrible zucchini thing that she just made. So let's think about something that you guys said was very individual, which was college search, application, and acceptance, right? And so if you let's think about Kyle and Nithin for a second here. And let's imagine that Nithin is thinking, I could really use some help here. And he comes to Kyle and asks for help. And Kyle's thinking to himself saying, wait a second, Nithin is trying to take my spot at UCLA. There's no way I want that to happen, right? So he decides not to help him. He doesn't think of it as a team event. This is an individual event. We're all competing against each other. Probably what Angela would say, that's kind of a stressful situation. Now, if Kyle decides to help Nithin with his essays, say, first of all, that's going to relieve his stress. I think it'll clearly, and you can guess why. It's going to clearly relieve his stress because he's going to look at that essay and say, there's no way this kid is going to any school that I'm going to. I mean, I'm going to frickin' Cambridge now. This is no problem. So it's like, it's going to be helpful. But actually, here's the thing, more seriously, is in this process, you don't know what you're going to get out of it. And there are tens of thousands of people applying to every college. And there are thousands of spots, and we're all going to get into a school that fits us. And it's all going to be okay. And if we think about it as, I think if you reframe this and said, if you think about it and said, the game here is for everybody, all my friends, or everybody at Monte Vista, or everybody on the track team, whatever group, some larger group than yourself, for us all to find great schools. And if I can help people, then we're all going to be okay. And if you start just acting that way, even if you don't feel like it at the start, probably by the end, you're going to feel a little more relaxed. And that would be a good thing. And you'd feel good about what you're doing. And the fact is, as these two guys have demonstrated, there is plenty of room at UCLA. So you're not actually competing with each other for spots. So I think it's really important right now, when we're not in front of our teams, to start, and we're not maybe feeling like we're part of a team, and we're feeling very alone. In fact, maybe the worse you feel, it's more of a reason to say, let's do something for somebody else, which is one of the reasons for the last several weeks on our Friday calls, I've been encouraging you guys to say, do a 5-minute act of kindness for a teammate, call somebody, text them a photo, listen to it. If you know a teammate struggling, listen to them, drop off a muffin on their porch, do something. And the thing is, even if right now, when you start doing this, you're not feeling connected, you're feeling like we're all alone, we're feeling like we're all individually suffering during this pandemic, you start doing things like this, you're going to feel connected, and even if you don't feel it now, I believe it will help you change your mindset to say, yeah, this really is all of us against the pandemic. And the older we get, the more opportunities you're going to find. You're going to have more degrees of freedom to do things like work for nonprofits. I mean, after this pandemic, you're going to think, to work for nonprofits, for volunteer to help do things helpful in your community, to whether that's, things like food banks, remember, with all these things happening, don't forget about environmental issues. Don't forget about, racial and economic equality issues. Don't forget about different educational opportunities. There are a lot of things that we can do to make this world better. And the more that we do like that, it's not just that we're making the world better, and which is something good in itself and something very selfless. But I believe, and Angela Duckworth believes, and other people believe, that the more you can change your mindset to believe that you are part of a team, that you're part of something bigger, that it's us against some big thing rather than you against everybody else, that makes a big difference in how you feel about things. And you might be thinking, you might also look at this list and say, Coach, okay, nice talking, but how could one photo, for example, change a mood? You're overdoing this, Coach. There's no way that's true. And I'd say, then look at this and tell me this doesn't change your mood just slightly. See these guys right here. Look at how cute. Come on, you guys. You've got to be saying that this changes your mood just a little bit here. All right. Okay. So with that, this gives you a lot of ideas of things you can do for your friends and for your teammates. So listen, just remember, as we go through this, that we are a team and we're in this together. Our families, our team, our society, our whole planet. We're not, what we're going through is unique, but it's also in some sense universal. And the more you can do to feel that community, I believe it's going to help you a lot, not just now during the pandemic, but I think your whole life. And that's something that we try to teach on the track team and on the cross country team. So we try to build that team spirit, and why that's helpful to us in developing our grit, in accomplishing our goals, and all those things. And hopefully, we never knew how important it would be till what we're going through right now. So with that, I'd like to have you guys keep that in mind, as we're apart, that we're still together. So now, in an alternate reality, I would be a little embarrassed because hopefully I would get some response and applause. But in the meantime, we'll have to, I will do with the imagining that it's a roaring applause. So thank you, everybody. All right, so let's go on with more of our presentation. So first of all, a couple things I want to do is thank you to everybody who's helped. We put in a lot of hours. In one sense, I know that we put in more hours getting ready for this than we would have if we were going to. Parents would have helped too. But in terms of a team, coaches and team, we put more hours into this than we would have if we just walked over to the student union tonight. So here are some people who really helped a lot. Connor did a great job on this. The echo was my fault. Not Connor keeps on teaching me how to teach me how to do that. You know, I'm a slow learner. A bunch of other people were on different meetings and were very helpful. I also want to, in general, the last video is done by the sophomores, and the reason is the juniors and seniors told me that, yeah, well, we've got AP tests and they don't, and they have time and they can do it faster anyway. And I just want everybody to know that part of the reasons also is, you know, when you're sophomores, you're younger, you're a little more tuned into technology and how to do things. And, you know, whereas you get to be juniors and seniors, you're kind of old and out of date. In fact, some of the sophomores called and told me and said, yeah, you know, those juniors and seniors, they still use TikTok. That's out. So thank you, sophomores, for doing your bit. I also want to thank, well, I've got the parents here, and hopefully we have a lot of parents watching on the YouTube channel. I want to thank everybody who joined MVAB, even in this shortened season. I mean, I have a feeling that there are going to be a lot of changes going forward, and having your support and help is going to be even more important in the future. And you know, we've put a lot into this. If you still want to donate, you can get in touch with Erin Mobley. And if you don't have her contact information, Debbie, our team mom, can also help you out. But any help you can give us, it's going to pay off in the future for sure. And quickly to tell you our agenda, this is what we're going to be doing tonight. We've gotten through the welcome talk, which is the thing I force you to suffer through. And we're now going to go through this agenda. We're going to switch back and forth between this screen share and for the people who are watching on Zoom, you're going to have to go to the YouTube Live to watch the videos, because it's just going to be better quality videos if you go to YouTube Live. So we're going to do that now. We have a video that was put together for the 400 shootout. While everybody was kind of unlucky, Monte Vista did have some good fortune in that we got a few competitions including our traditional 400 shootout. And Connor now has a video for us. I'm going to get out of this. You can, if you just got in recently, there's a chat. We'll put the link in the chat room, right, Connor? If you could do that. And we'll go over to, and there it is. And we'll go over to YouTube and enjoy some memories of the 400 shootout. Off we go.
Yeah, I did. I see everybody like. Throwdown 2020 now on the track.
Oh, dude, Sammy's off, dude.
Welcome to tonight's main event, the 2020 Shootout, 7th edition.
I love you so, hey, that's what you'll say. You'll tell me, baby, baby, please don't go away. But when I play, I never stay. So every girl that I meet, yeah, this is what I say. Run away, baby, before I put my spell on you. You better get away, darling, 'cause everything you heard is true. You're
All right. Okay, we're back. You guys can hear me, right? Good. Okay. All right. So listen, that was a very nice video. Also, thank you to Nithin for the drone shot there, which I think is pretty awesome to watch those races from up top. We were really, really fortunate to be able to still get some events in, like the 400 shootout. And we also had 2 more events, one, our own Rustbuster that we hosted, and one more event when we got canceled that we ran our Carpe Diem games. So we did get a few marks in, thank goodness. And I want to share, as we start rolling away from this, I want to share something because I'm so proud, and at the same time, really kind of sad, because as you would imagine, let's see if I go back here. Oops, I need to go. Sorry. I need to get a different. I need to queue up. I should have been queuing this up before. Is my next PowerPoint. Here we go. So we achieved quite a bit, and I just want to, oops. Can you guys see this or not?
No.
No, hang on. Here we go. All right. So we did achieve a lot in a short amount of time. And I wanted to pull out one statistic to highlight that makes me really happy and really sad at the same time. And I want you to look at the top 10 times in our league for girls in the 3200. And this is that list, which is insane, right? When you have the top 7 times for a season, all from Monte Vista. And in the entire time in 10 years coaching at Monte Vista, there's only been one time we've gotten 5 girls under 12, and we did that in basically one meet and change. And I am sure that Elizabeth and Vivian would have gotten under 2 and into that also. And I probably would have made Agnes run this, and for sure Sydney and Nerea, and who knows how many we would have gotten under here. This is crazy. And so I think, and if you look at the rest of the team and the marks we were putting down in such a short period of time, we were really ready to have a wonderful season. And you could be both happy and sad about things at the same time, but I just wanted to point out that we really did achieve a lot in a very, very short amount of time. So now we're going to go into our awards because we still want to recognize what we accomplished. And this was voted on by the athletes. It includes both attitude as well as talent and marks. We really asked people to, as they voted, to consider the actions of their teammates during quarantine. Both as individuals working hard for themselves and trying to stay on track, as well as teammates helping each other. And so we tried to look for ways that people were really, really good teammates as well as achievers. We also simplified the awards this year. Usually we have, every group has different awards and every group has MVPs, and this time it was very difficult to do that. So we only have 3 categories. The first category that we are giving awards for are for Rising Stars. These are for first-year Monte Vista track and field athletes who made contributions to team culture as well as athletic contributions. So we think that they're not only blessed athletically and going to help us that way, but they're going to help build our team over future years. And these are people that you selected yourselves. So the first award is going to be, Coach John and I are going to be presenting this. And so Coach John is going to be presenting the first award to Jonathan / Little Morris. can you unmute? Hang on. Let me
I was just kidding.
There you
I
go.
had it on mute.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
So
Welcome, Coach John.
I'll be quick this year. Obviously, we've got a lot to do and pass out. What I'll say about Jonathan here, I'd say the first 2 weeks of practice, I kept seeing this kid, and I was like, man, that looks like so familiar. I don't know where I picture this kid from, but he's so familiar. And finally, Arnav came up to me and said, hey, you know that's Morris's little brother, right? And then after I got through the PTSD flashbacks of all the things with Morris, I said, man, this guy's awesome. So obviously he was the second fastest on the team in the 100 and the 200. Real hard worker in practice. You see a lot of good quotes here. I feel like he was destined to be a member of a 4x1 that would have gone far, but we got 3 more years. So little Morris, congratulations, Jonathan.
Yay. All right. The next Rising Star Award is also going to be presented by Coach John. This is Maya Mizrahi.
All right. So Maya was just an awesome addition to the team this year. I think some of the quotes that were there, obviously she suffered with some injuries, but she just had a great attitude. One of my favorite memories of the year was at Rustbuster. And if you look through the pictures, I think you'll notice she basically camped out on the home stretch the whole meet. And every single race that Monte Vista had an athlete, she's running up and down the home stretch cheering. You see her in the back. I think after Sydney's awesome 4x4 anchor, Maya's right in the thick there running over. So again, she's got a lot of speed. I know once she gets her injuries taken care of and has a healthy season, she's going to be an awesome athlete. So congrats, Maya. Great having you on the team. And Coach, I think it's back to you.
All right. I'm presenting the next award. The next award is going to Nikita Saldi, who's one of our distance runners. Nikita, you guys clearly had some great things to say about her. All these quotes, by the way, are things that people responded to when they voted. Nikita, in addition to being a lot of fun, Nikita ran a 5:43 1600 and an 11:58 3200. Just so you know, the girl who has the all-time Monte Vista school record in the 3200 did not break 12 until her junior year. So the fact that Nikita broke 12 at the beginning of her freshman year is pretty amazing. I also, when I read the second quote here that says, "This girl is crazy," I said, yeah. And if there's in the longer director's cut of the 400 shootout, there's a scene when in the film where the top of her head just kind of bounces across the screen. It's worth watching the longer cut of the 400 shootout video just to see that. So I recommend that highly. So congratulations, Nikita. And Coach John will be presenting the next award to
My man Hayden. This is a man of few words. I think in the shootout video, if you watch the long version, he gets interviewed, and I'm pretty sure he says 4 words in response to 5 questions, which seems like a technical impossibility, but he makes it happen. I just give him a lot of credit. He showed a lot of gut in practices. I put him in the top heat as a freshman, someone new to the area. That's a lot of pressure. I was really happy to see he broke 60 by the skinniest of margins. I believe he ran 59.99 to get in the nice sub 1 minute category. Great on the jump hit, and I think he's just got a bright future on the sprints, in the jumps. You know, who knows what else we're going to toss him into? But Hayden, congratulations, buddy.
All right. Next is I want to present to Olivia. So Olivia, I want to tell you I heard about her for an entire year from Viva, and this is maybe part of the story is about Viva, because Viva said, you know, the last day of practice last year in 2019, this girl, Olivia, came out and threw the discus 100 feet. And I'm just shaking my head because that is really hard. And I was figuring this is some exaggeration, but Viva usually doesn't exaggerate by a whole lot. And so I kept on hearing about this girl, Olivia. And then boom, sure enough, she shows up and she is everything advertised, just sweet and hardworking and pays attention. and everybody is really glad to have her on the team. She threw almost 24 feet in her first set of high school meets, and 67 feet um, in a legit marked situation. So that's a really great start. And Olivia, after all the time we spent talking into doing this, I know this season didn't go the way you wanted to. Please stick with it. I mean, you are a really, really solid athlete, and we're glad to have you. All right. Okay. I've got the next one too. And the next Rising Star Award is to Sydney Stevens. And so Sydney ran a 2:34 800 at Rustbuster and a 5:38 at Carpe Diem. And for everybody who thinks about those Carpe Diem times, they're pretty amazing, because remember, we thought that we were expecting to have a meet against Mountain View. We announced over the loudspeaker, guess what? No competitions. And people show up and say, don't know what's going on. And we say, yeah, put on your jersey, you are competing. And they still ran out times like this. So it's pretty amazing. So she ran some pretty good times there. But I think what everybody remembers who was there at Rustbuster was her anchor leg in the 4x4. She looked like she wanted to eat that Fremont runner, and she pretty much did. And it is one of the most, I mean, it's one of the great things about track. I would put that in my top 10 track moments, pro or amateur, just seeing that happen. It was really awesome. So I think everybody's really glad to have Sydney on the team, not only as an athlete, but also as a team builder. She is unrelenting at trying to convince everybody that they should do track and cross country. And so we appreciate her. Congratulations, Sydney. And the next award, I guess I've got that one too. So the next one is for Rising Stars is Max Reddy. So Max has this unbelievable work ethic. I'm glad you guys recognize this too. I mean, he showed up here with no summer running, nothing else, didn't know people on the team, and started out just trying to figure things out. And he is somebody who will ask any question. He is not shy about being quiet if he thinks he can get some information that'll help him be better as a runner. And I think this last quote, his improvements are insane from where he has come from his first day of cross country through the day that we split apart. And I know he's been in touch with me. He, like a lot of us, is having a tough time with the quarantine, and he misses the team, but he's still working hard. And I think that watching what he's going to do over the next 3 years is going to be a lot of fun. And the next award is presented by, absolutely, to Max. And the next one is going to be presented by Coach John for Agnes.
All right. Just quickly to add to the story about Sydney's 4x4 anchor, I was standing right next to the other 3 Fremont athletes, and they saw Sydney take off, and I heard one say to the other, there's no way she's going to catch her. And I just sat there. It's like 50 yards, probably not. And she just chewed her up, spit her out at the end there. That was awesome. So props to that. But Agnes was one of these kids that long before the season started, Vivian and other people would say, oh, this girl Agnes, oh, she's going to be great. And, I'm always I keep my guard up a bit because you never know. Actually, I'm lying. As soon as I hear that, I immediately assume they're going to go 60 flat and we're going to win CCS. So anyway, Agnes was awesome. I know she worked out with the Los Altos crew with Sean, Parkey, Vivian. She dropped a 65 at Rustbuster in the rain as a freshman. And I'm pretty sure I leaned into coach and said, oh man, we're going to medal in CCS again. This girl's going to fly. I was super impressed the first time I met her. She could juggle a soccer ball for like 900 times in a row. I still haven't gotten past 50. To think that she got 4th place in the shootout again as a freshman in lane 8 in a race with I think it was like 4 or 5 CCS medalists or champions. That's a big stage to be on, out in lane 8 by herself. I just said, sorry, you're a freshman, we're throwing you out in lane 8. And she did great. Again, to get 4th in a race where the people who beat you are the twins, who obviously have a whole closet full of medals, and Silvana, who runs, sub 11 just for kicks. Pretty awesome. So congrats, Agnes. Keep working hard. And I know we'll be back out there next year kicking some butt.
Awesome. So Congratulations to all our Rising Star winners. The next category is most inspirational. And I think we all feel like in a season like this, these might be the most meaningful awards we pass out this year. You know, because it's not just about being inspirational during those first 5 weeks. It's also, we ask people to really think about what their teammates have been doing during quarantine. Even though we haven't been able to practice together, have there been people who either been demonstrating a work ethic that makes you want to, that inspires you to work hard, or actually actively reaches out to you? And so those are the kind of things we were trying to find. And the first award is going to be presented by Coach John to Parky.
All right, Parky. You know, I want to say 2 quick things about Parky. I remember the first day of practice, Coach Flatow asked everyone, "Hey, what are your goals for the season?" And like most kids will do in a 100-person setting, a few hands went up. Most people suddenly had to look at the clouds. But Parky's hand shot up, and right off the bat, he said, "Man, I want to be on that 4x4." And the reason I bring it up is to put yourself out there, to be brave in front of your peers. You know, once something's out there, it's out there. And I give him so much credit for throwing that goal on the wall. He started working hard. He was chipping time out. So again, that shows a lot of character. I'm super proud of him. Thing again, to Coach's point about quarantine workouts, this guy, I call it sort of our second season, and I'd say he's certainly the MVP. Every single time we had a meet, he went out there and ran. I wish I had been there to see him sprinting through the Kennedy bus circle, hauling ass. He went from a 3-minute plank to 7-minute. And again, planks are one of those things where it's pretty easy to say, "Oh, my shoulder's hurting, maybe I should stop," or, "Oh, I don't know." But to do it for 7 minutes, I mean, that's just a more than 2x improvement. So Parky, keep working hard. Keep doing that Los Altos workouts. I heard you and Vivian crashed one of their workouts recently. Congrats on that. Pleasure coaching you, buddy, and congrats. Keep it up.
And Coach John is also going to present the next award to senior Sean Chen.
Sean. So, you know, not a lot of live sports on TV, not a whole lot going on. So I've spent a whole lot of time watching old track videos. And I would argue that in the 8 years I ran myself, in the 8 years I've coached here, I have never heard a single voice cheer more loudly or more enthusiastically than Sean. I mean, he could be 500 yards away and you can hear him, "Let's go, Vivian." I mean, I've watched so many videos where all I hear is that in the background, and it makes me smile every time. He's just one of those guys who you just, as a coach, you want him on your team because you know he's going to lift everyone up. You know, he had a great winter working out with the guys. Obviously, he had some injuries, but you know, again, for a guy to pick on your team, to be a leader, to be that voice that's out there running back and forth across the infield for every 4x4, cheering on people he just met. You know, he really a coach's dream. And don't go hiding there, Sean. Be proud, buddy. We're gonna miss you, and big congrats, man.
All right. And I would like to present the next most inspirational award to Ellie Shu. And so Ellie, I want to say a few things. This is what, having watched Ellie for a year and a half and working up on 2 years, during warmups, as an example, if people are starting to warm up around the track, Ellie, and particularly before the workout actually starts, Ellie's the first one, if somebody's standing around and kind of not sure what to do, to yell out, "Hey, why don't you warm up with us? Come up with us, join us. There's never, I mean, she's paying attention to who's around her, but she's also looking around to see who she can invite over. And I think that's really great. Another story I'd tell you is that in cross country season, I mean, I know this isn't directly a track, but it's an input on Ellie, is we put up ballots for captains to be juniors and seniors. And I had 2 seniors come up to me and say, "You know, Ellie Shu should be on this ballot. I know she's a sophomore, but we should think about her as a captain." And that has never happened to me in 10 years of coaching at Monte Vista. You know, and she really cares about her community. She really cares about the people around her, and people know that and see it. And I think also she has been inspirational by her performance. I know that she's been important to the community and supporting people during the quarantine. As you can see, some of the quotes that are here, that she's still doing things while we're sheltering in place. Not necessarily, and this is great because it's not necessarily things that coaches see, but she's doing that, and you guys are talking about it. And she also PR'd in the 3200 in the only race we had this season. So she was clearly set up for a good season, and not just talking the talk, but also walking the talk. So Ellie Shue, most inspirational award. Congratulations. The next one is, I'm also going to present to Viva. And I love this quote when I saw this in the voting, that Viva practically built the girls throwing team. And I would say, I mean, when we talked about Olivia being on the team, Viva was the one who's been talking about her for a year and was just unrelenting. I knew that Viva would make that Olivia's life pretty miserable until she came out and joined the team, and I mean, miserable in a very nice way. But I think the other thing about, so Viva clearly cares about the team. She cares about other people being on the team. I mean, she was our threw the discus further than anybody for us in 2019. She was busy trying to recruit somebody who she expected to throw further than her. Not everybody does that, and that says, you know, something about caring about the people around you and caring about the team. I think also everybody is inspired by Viva's interesting crossover between sprints and distance and throws, and yet she does it. You know, there's never any complaint about saying, "Oh boy, this is a lot." She just runs around and does it, and everybody is impressed. And I think that is a mark of being extremely inspirational. So, Viva, congratulations. The next most inspirational award will be presented by Coach John to Ananya.
All right. So this one definitely hurts. My first memory of Ananya was, I believe it was her sophomore year. I was doing an optional fall workout with some of the football guys I was trying to convince to come out for track. And, you know, it's Jonah, he's got his cutoff shirt on, and Derek is, you know, Cheto, all these guys just being meatheads, and we're having a blast. And she kind of crept over, quiet Ananya, and said, "Oh, I hear you're working out. Can I join you?" And I said, "Sure, yeah, of course." So we did death by burpees, which, if anyone's done it, it's not fun. It's just hard, and you feel like crap for like an hour after. So, you know, one by one, you know, Cheto goes down, and, you know, Jonah quits, and I finally went down, and I just think, who is this, you know, 63-pound girl who is doing minute 17, minute 18, minute 19, and she just kept grinding. And you know, I've said this before, but she's definitely one of the hardest working, just most dedicated athletes that I've been around. I think if I said, "Hey, Ananya, workout today is you're gonna run through that brick wall," she would say, "Okay, coach, sure," and she'd figure out how to do it. So I feel like in the last couple months, when I've been doing hard workouts and I feel like I'm tired or I want to quit, I think about people like Ananya, who I know, like, that thought I don't think has ever crossed her mind. So, you know, huge thank you for being such a good teammate. Ananya is just a great person. She's a great motivator, and I know you've got big things in your future. So congrats.
Yeah. All right. And our last most inspirational award to Kyle, which again, you know, we kind of say for not being injured for a period of weeks in a row. But no, I mean, I think everybody, maybe it can be easy to take Kyle's inspiration for granted, and he does it in so many ways. I mean, one is, again, the fact that he has not had a lot of luck ever since that infamous tangle with a tree years ago. But he never has used this as excuses. He's never, when he's been down, he doesn't let it leak out and bother the rest of the team. He just kind of digs in and grinds. And often we'll find somebody else to go out there and do the extra core work and other activities with him that he needs to do, but he'll also help make the rest of the team better. And, you know, and is unfailingly positive to everybody around him, all his teammates around him, no matter what. And I think that the respect that you guys have for him is really clear. In addition to being a leader and often been a captain on several of our teams, he was also on the athletic senate for the last 2 years, which is a big deal and has really helped Mr. Bonacorsi achieve some goals for the school at large. And I think that we really can't say enough about Kyle. We're going to miss him a lot. It's going to be a big hole in the team. So thank you, Kyle. I'm glad you guys voted him as one of our most inspirational, for sure. That was a good choice. All right, most valuable athlete awards. We always try to tell people that being a valuable athlete is more than just being talented, and particularly in a season like this where we can't measure value just on terms of points scored. So values including a lot of team spirit and consideration for others, attitude, work ethic, as well as athletic talent. We want that to be included also. The first person that we're going to announce as an award for most valuable is Henry. Henry, I think, so I feel like Henry, besides being an excellent athlete, I mean, he's just one of these guys who I mean, he could have won a most inspirational award also, frankly. And, you know, the last comment that I put on the slide of Henry being the dad of the throwing team, I can really see it. But he's also so aware of all the people around him. And he, out of almost any athlete on the team, but for sure an athlete that I don't see every day all year round, Henry is the guy that if I'm walking around the school and he's, no matter what he's doing with anybody else, he'll look and give me a big wave and a big smile. He's never, you know, he'll stop whatever he's doing with talking with the people he's with and give me that wave. And I think that's really important. I mean, he was throwing really well, and I'm sure we were going to see a lot of PRs. The whole guys throwing team was looking so strong at the beginning of this year. And I think that Henry was one of the people who helped make that happen. So it's a shame the season ended, but Henry, well done. All right. And the next award is going to be presented by Coach John to Vivian.
All right. Vivian. You know, I have a bone to pick with Vivian because I remember in last year's video, she said I was weird, but I'll let that go. Vivian's someone, obviously, there's so much to be proud of. Sort of similar to what Coach said about Henry. Vivian, I believe, was one of the top, if not the top vote getter in the inspirational category as well. That's sort of an awesome problem we had as coaches of what award do we give her? So, you know, I think it speaks to her talent and her character that not only is she someone that gets recognized for being just a badass on the track, you know, she's on CCS 4x1, she's medaling, she's out there all the time, but she also is an amazing captain. She participated in all of our post-season sprint workouts. You know, it seems like every time she went for a run down her street, someone must have stopped her, but she kept getting PRs despite that. She outplanked me several of the weeks at meets, which is good. She took her push-ups in a minute all the way up to 37, which is impressive. But she's just, you know, I'm super proud of her. I think, yeah, there you go, flex on them. Talking about the stuff that happened after the season, a lot of you know I started that email campaign, and not only did she take the time to write an email, but she painted this insanely good drawing or painting of one of my dear friends who's, you know, in the thick of it in New York. And we actually sent that. I got to, you know, see her from 10 feet away. She walked out on the curb, put the painting down. I walked up, picked it up, but we mailed it out. And I want to tell you, Vivian, I sent it to that girl's parents, and her dad is like one of these scary, tough New Yorker types that makes me look like a kitten. And he sent me a picture or a video, and he's just bawling his eyes out because it just was such a beautiful tribute to his daughter. So, like Coach said, sometimes it seems like how does one little thing make a difference? But the ripple effect of what you did, it's running. You're making solid concrete rocks cry, which is just like an emotional breakthrough. So super proud of you. I know we've got another season to get out there and kick some butt. So congrats, Vivian, captain, second season MVP here. I couldn't be more proud of you.
All right. The next MVP award is going to go to Andrew Richardson. Andrew, in a very short season, he PR'd in both the 400 and in the 800. The 800 he PR'd with a 202 at Carpe Diem games, and that's really hard. Again, I'm going to bring that up. I mean, he'd had to do that by himself, and he, and did it without a whole lot of, emotional burst, right? I mean, everybody came out there again, knowing that something was going to happen, that the season could be over, and you had to kind of really suck it up and go run. And he set a PR, and a 202 is a good time. I'll tell you, in 2012, Arvin Rao opened the season with a just under 202. He ran a 201 high. And by the end of that season, he ran the fastest time that I've ever coached at Monte Vista in the 800. He ran a 155 to take fourth in CCS. So, could Andrew have been on that path? I think it's possible. Plus, did you notice Andrew Richardson, Arvin Rao? There was definitely something going on there that could have happened. So, Andrew, great job and congratulations. The next award is going to be presented by Coach John to Brooke Young.
All right. Am I on mute or can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Cool. So Brooke has a bit of a first world problem here. Most people, when they have the second fastest time in CCS in the 100 and 200, the fourth fastest time in CCS, most of the time that person would also be the fastest person in her own house. But unfortunately for Brooke, that just wasn't the case this year. But that's one of those good problems, I'd like to say, to have the kind of times that she ran in the first 3 weeks of this season. Almost every single athlete in CCS would trade to have those times in May. So she obviously came out of the gates, did really well. As you see in the shootout, I think that video is just awesome. It's insane to see the separation these two get almost immediately on an insanely strong field. She had great times the Carpe Diem games, obviously anchoring 4x4 and second fastest time in CCS. I know she's hungry to break through and get even more done. We had a good talk at Carpe Diem, and hopefully that, she understands that if she wants to take over the mantle in the household, she's got to outwork her sister. So, Brooke, congrats. Stay on it over the summer, fall, winter, and hopefully we're out there again next spring, and maybe you can shake it up in the Young household.
All right. I would like to present the next award to Sammy Dunn. And so Sammy, I think, just as a jumper, she jumped 410 legal, and she cleared 5-1 in what I would call a semi-legal situation at Carpe Diem, where I think she just had a couple extra misses, but it was still it was clear that she was going to have some big PRs and be someplace in the fives by the end of the season, which definitely puts her in CCS contention. But I think she got this award, or I would like to think you guys voted on all these awards, but I would like to think you guys voted her for this award, not just for her marks, but for the other things she brings to the team. For one is, she is always willing to try new things. I mean, I didn't know somebody had talked her into doing throws, but I could see that. I do know that she realized that we could use another horizontal jumper, and so she went over and just volunteered and started doing that without anybody really pushing her to do it. She has been, there have been a lot of people who love the team enough and try to recruit new people, but I don't know that anybody's done anything like Sammy did, which is get the entire volleyball team into a room so that I could make a pitch. I mean, that is not just hard to do. It's also putting yourself out there, because I could have embarrassed her badly, which coaches do, right? And yet she was willing to take that risk and put her own credibility out to get the entire team out. That says something. Um, Having the season shut down, I think with Sammy is one of the ones I really feel bad about, because I know she was so happy to go from 0 coaches in the high jump to 2 coaches. I mean, there's a real look of joy on her face, and I really wish we'd be able to get that whole season in so that she could have experienced that. But Sammy, we still got one more year. We'll do this. All right. And next one I've got also, which is Eric. Eric came out this year looking like he had just an entire other layer of muscle and, strength. I mean, it's like some kids, they come back from summer and they just suddenly look like, wait, what happened to the boy that was here? This guy has grown. And it's, again, with guys, you don't see everything right away with jumpers, because they're switching in weights between sophomore and junior year. But clearly he was adapting to that. He had some good throws off already. I think this is going to be a crazy year. Remember last year he won leagues in both discus and shot as frosh off, and he was definitely going to make a mark as a senior. So I'm really glad you guys recognized that and voted for him. And Eric is also a really smart kid. This is the kind of kid that I know there are going to be a lot of small college coaches that are always going to be really excited about if he decides that this is the sport for him rather than football. Eric, congratulations. We'll get him next year, buddy. All right. And the next award, I've got also, which is Tria Roy. So Tria rolled out and was in this season, started out within 1 second of her 1600 PR and only 10 seconds from her 32 PR, again, in Carpe Diem, basically running by herself. This year, she was going to take down the school record in the 32, which is really frustrating that I didn't get to see that. But like Bridget Gottlieb, who has the record, Tria is heading to Hopkins, and so she is following in those footsteps for sure. And I really like, there's the quote, the first quote here that one of you guys pulled up, which is that she kind of follows this instinctive process to work hard and keep on improving. And I see that in her running, and for sure in talking to her, I know that I think that observation is correct. I mean, it goes throughout her life. And that's a gritty, flexible mindset trait that is going to serve her well. So congratulations, Tria. We're going to miss you. And the next award is our other distance. So Lady Silvana Northrup, who is going to be the other one who's going to break that record. To go under 11 at Carpe Diem is amazing. It's just, we were going to have, that record was going to get destroyed by 2 people. And I think that it is even more impressive when you think about the fact that was her first 3200 since coming back from an injury that was pretty severe. And just for those of you guys who don't know it, she at league finals in cross country, Silvana took 2nd place, and she walked up to me after and says, "Yeah, my ankle's a little sore though." And then on Monday she's in a boot. So she broke, or the next day I saw her. So she broke her ankle, took 2nd place, said it's a little sore, hopped around all day, and then spent 4 months coming back and bust 11. That's pretty amazing. This was going to be part of a crew between Tria and Silvana. We're going to lead a group that I would not be surprised if we'd gotten, remember that list of all the girls who ran those 32s, with leaders like this, to get 5 or 6 girls that would clear 11:30 and get in the at-large time to CCS, we would have an entire cross-country team. I mean, we could have had our entire cross-country team in CCS, which would have been nuts. Makes me sad. So, but the fact is, these are all really good times, and Silvana was part of that for sure. So, congratulations. One more distance runner, which is Rohan, always on the grind. You know, the fact that he does run sub 11 while talking, which he did at Carpe Diem. He opens the season with a 9:35 at Rustbuster, which is a 5-second PR in the first race of the year. That's really setting him up for what would have been an amazing year. He had a goal in 9:20, and that was totally going to be in the bag for sure. And low 420s in the 1600 was totally in the wheelhouse too. I mean, he's a hard worker. He cares about the rest of you guys too. I do think that this, towards the bottom, where it says that he, both those quotes at the bottom, that he's kind of increases expectations for everybody on the team, but also that he could get the school record. Well, we still have another year to try for that. So awesome. Congratulations, Rohan, and congratulations to all you guys for voting for him. And our last MVP award is going to be, oh no, we've got two more, our last couple. So the next one is going to be presented by Coach John to Bianca.
All right, getting my slides here. So I remember pretty clearly at CCS trials last year, you know, Bianca was a sophomore. As a freshman, she placed 5th in the finals. So she didn't make the finals last year. It was a stacked field. I mean, just insanely deep. And we were sitting in the bleachers, and I remember saying to her, and I don't know if she remembers this, give me a thumbs up if you do, but I could tell she was disappointed. My wife and I were sitting there talking to her, and I said, look, you have to remember like this moment right here. It's easy to remember when you're on the podium. It's easy to remember when you're winning, but sometimes like that's not what's going to motivate you. You know, what motivates me as an athlete is I think about the times when I didn't make it, because that's what's going to fuel it. So I just said, look, if you don't want to be sitting on these bleachers next year feeling this same way, then you know you've got to grind. You know that people are out there working hard, and that's the deal. So I think anyone on sprints would agree. And the voting, I think, speaks for itself. And obviously you can see she's in the front of the pack, the quotes, but I think she basically led every hill repeat, every 200, every 300, 400, 350, 360, 400 shootout, you name it. So I was really proud to see that she obviously went and put that work in coming into the season. She, dragged Brooke around the track at practice every day. Yeah. But I mean, look, she has the fastest time in CCS in the 100, fastest time in CCS in the 200, second fastest 400 time, led off the second fastest 4x4. I think when we all met up that last day, it was tough to, say goodbye to her, knowing that it was probably going to be for the year, because it just felt like there was just so much we were leaving on the table. So, again, my advice to her is pretty much the same as last year. We have a whole new set of things that are unfortunately, negative motivators, if you will. You're sitting there thinking, I could be out there this weekend at CCS finals, maybe in the 4, the 1, and the 2, who knows? But super proud of you. Again, the times in the meets are one thing. If we want to talk about taking advantage of the opportunities, which I know Coach talked about earlier, they had to run that 100 at Carpe Diem twice because the gun didn't work. It would have been really easy to say, forget it, no worries. But to get back out there 20 minutes later and blast a PR by almost 0.2 of a second, very amazing. But again, as proud as I am for those times, I'm more proud of the fact that every single day in practice, she was out there grinding, cheering teammates on, up and down the hill, working hard. Obviously, the work ethic was there. So hopefully that work ethic stays strong over the summer and the fall and the winter. My advice is just, every day that you think you're out there grinding, just believe that there's someone out there grinding harder who's probably saying, man, I want to be on that podium. I want to be up there. And don't take your foot off the gas. And hopefully next year we're out there and climbing to the top of some podiums, just like freshman year at CCS. So congrats.
All right. And our last MVP award is also going to be presented by Coach John to Vishal.
Okie dokie. So I'm trying to find all you guys on the video before I start talking. Where is there's Vishal? All right, what's up, buddy? So Vishal was a captain. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. December, maybe mid-December, I went over to the high school and we did a little volunteer workout just to see where everyone was at. And to say that he wasn't in perfect shape would be an understatement. We did like a pretty light calisthenics. I remember Rima was there and she said on a 1 to 10 it was a 4. So Rima doesn't really tell a lie. She's got that quality. But this dude Vishal was basically crawling on the ground, looking like he was going to get sick. Halfway through all the planks, he hit the deck. But what really makes me proud is if you see the quotes about the off season, his grit, his attitude, all of that. He obviously, he only needed one wake up call to realize, okay, I better get going, and get going. He did. He won the shootout for the second year in a row, set the meet record, which is really, really impressive. For some context, the old meet record was Elliott. That same season, he went 51 flat and split 50.3. So obviously a lot of potential was out there. He was a captain. He was a leader. I think for a guy who's naturally very quiet, he started finding his voice. He started, figuring out how to motivate people and how to kind of kick some people in the butt when they needed it. So I know that's going to continue next year. Obviously, for the season we sort of did that involved these kids doing workouts in their house and running around the neighborhoods, he stayed with it to the end. I think we had 40 something people do one workout. Most disappeared within a week or two, but he stuck with it. So MVP in every possible way. Vishal, captain, super duper proud of you. Let's keep those hamstrings from getting hurt and have a kick butt senior year next year.
All right. Excellent job, you guys, and congratulations. And again, we think that you all did a wonderful job of voting and selecting award winners. So if you're kind of looking at this and thinking, hopefully you look at all this and think you're a little bit inspired to work a little bit. And also I would encourage you as you start working to be vocal about it. It's a lot of our tendency. I think you guys have a lot of modesty. Nobody wants to flag say, oh, look at all this work I did. It can feel like you're kind of pointing at yourself a little bit, but now is one time when maybe you have to. It's not something we can see on the track where you see 30 people out there grinding and you can see the people in the front and we know who's working and that inspires us. Right now, it's kind of like, yeah, if you do a 400 by yourself, did it really happen, right? And so maybe you need to tell people. And it's not necessarily just bragging. It's also saying to your teammates, you could get out and do this too. And so I would encourage you to keep on pulling and pushing each other and really helping. And I think that the people you recognized are clearly people who are talking about it and out there showing it even in this time when we're separate. Okay, so the next thing, what we've got in the next on the agenda is we are going to have a video put together for many of our seniors, telling us what their colleges were. It's one of the, maybe in the whole list of things that we missed out on with the quarantine, one of the things I think that one of your teammates brought up to me saying, boy, I didn't get to show up at practice and in the middle of warmups yell out, I got into blank, whatever college it was, right? We didn't get to make that announcement. And that maybe doesn't seem like as big a deal in the context of prom and senior all night party and graduation. And there are a whole bunch of other things. I mean, not to be a downer, but things are missing, but that's one of these little things that I feel, because it always was it's one of the things that I love about track season that is kind of underrated, is seeing you guys head off to college and being able to have that conversation with you and see how happy you are when you make that choice. So I'm glad we were able to put this video together. And if we can go over to YouTube live, and we will see where our seniors are going.
Make sure to mute your mic when you're watching the video. Thank you.
Especially me.
Especially you, Coach.
Hey guys, my name is Akshay. The events that I did in track and field are shot put and discus. I also did a little bit of distance as well this year. I'll be attending UC San Diego this fall, majoring in microbiology.
Hey, I'm Pranav Pada, and I'm happy to be going to UCLA next year to study computer science.
Hi, my name is Ria, and I will be attending MIT in the fall. And I'm not sure what I'm going to major in yet because I am an indecisive person.
Hey guys, it's Kyle, and I will be studying physiological science at UCLA in the fall.
Hello, my name is Arvind. I'm a thrower, and after graduating high school, I'm going to be majoring in mechanical engineering at Cal Poly Pomona.
My name is Christian Dulay, and I'm going to be going to De Anza for business admin as my major and music production as my minor.
Hey, it's Sean. In the fall, I will be attending Cal Poly SLO, studying political science and perhaps kinesiology.
In Monte Vista track and field and cross country, I'm Patrick, and this year in fall 2020, I'm planning to go to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign for computer science.
Hi, I'm Claire, and I'm going to be studying human bio at UCSD next year. Hopefully I will become a doctor sometime in my future. It's been really fun doing track with you guys for these past few years. I'm really going to miss you guys. Bye.
Hi guys, it's Alex. This fall I will be attending Purdue University in Indiana.
Hi, my name is Kang. I plan on going to De Anza next year and transferring out within the next 2 years. I also plan on running track there as well.
Hi, my name is Tabitha Mendez, and I'll be going to Seattle University in the fall to study psychology.
Hi guys, I'm Connor. This fall I'll be going to UCSD to study engineering physics. So long, and thanks for all the fish.
This is Ethan, and my future plans are probably going to be just to go to De Anza and then transfer to an art college or something like that. I want to proceed forward with graphic design and maybe go for freelance artists while I'm in college or something, work on some commissions.
Hi, it's Nandini. Next year I'll be attending Santa Clara University and I'll be studying business economics.
Hey everyone, I'm Tyler, and my current plan for next year is to attend UC Santa Barbara.
Hello Monte Vista track and field, this is Sarang. Thank you so much for all the memories during these last 4 years in track. It was so much fun competing and training with everybody, and I'm glad we made each other all better. This fall, I'll be headed to UC Berkeley to study computer science.
Hey folks, I'm Ananya, and this fall, I'll be studying computer science at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign.
Hi guys, it's Catherine. I'm going to Cal Poly next year. Thanks for an amazing 4 years, and good luck next season.
What's up, it's Nitin, and I know you've been itching to find out what school I'll be attending. I've got to say, it's UCLA, down south from the Bay, and I really can't wait. So thank you all for 4 years of fun. This has really been quite the run. And I'll leave you with a saying that's my number one. It always seems impossible until it's done.
All right. So nice job on the video, you guys, and congratulations to all our seniors. We know you're going to be super successful, and we're really, really proud of you. So congrats. Next, I'm going to, with trepidation, watch Sean unmute his mic, and he's going to take over for a moment here. So Sean, go ahead.
So something that we do every banquet is like towards the end of the banquet, kind of, when everyone's tired and like after coaches' long speeches and everything, we finally get to doing what I think is most important, because I think it should have been really evident throughout this season, especially with all the Zoom calls and everything, that we wouldn't be here without our wonderful coaches, Coach Flatow, Coach John, Amy, Amy, Curtis, and everyone else as well. I think we're so lucky to have coaches that care about us so much, to the point where they spend their entire days thinking about us, even though they never see us. And so I believe Ellie made a senior appreciation video that I think you should now watch.
One word I would use to describe Coach Amy would be encouraging.
A word I would describe Coach Amy is uplifting.
She'd be one of the Calpico flavors. Calpico is like sweet and it reminds me of how nice Coach Amy is, and they just give off the same vibes.
Sparkling apple cider, because sparkling apple cider was a person, Coach Amy would be that person.
One time he had a bunch of us play chaos tag together and he joined in, so obviously he won because he's an adult.
My favorite memory of Coach Curtis was we were just playing a fun game in which Brandon ended up winning, and to celebrate his victory, Coach Curtis made all of us jumpers line up and start bowing down to Brandon and saying, "We're not worthy! We're not worthy!"
For me at least, he'd tell me to stretch my hamstrings a lot because I didn't, and he would stretch them for me, and I don't think I've ever felt that much pain in my life.
My favorite memory with Coach Dobbins was from the Carpe Diem meet. I was getting kind of nervous jumping a higher height than I normally do, and she was doing a really good job of keeping me focused and positive, and I don't think I would have had the success that I did at that meet without her.
Precise, because throughout the season she worked with each one of us to improve small things in order to improve our overall performance.
Junior year after watermelon, I was pretty sad because that time trial did not go my way, and I was crying. I was pretty emotional. Coach Flatow just took me aside, talked to me, calmed me down, really taught me that these things are bound to happen and you're gonna have your ups and downs. And then I got home that day, I checked my email, and Coach Flatow has sent me some Angela Duckworth quotes from her book Grit, just to keep the positive vibes going. And I thought that was really sweet and just something Coach Flatow would do.
That's good. One time we used the broken Kennedy hurdles for our hurdle drills, and Coach Hartford decided to name the broken hurdle that has the crossbar kind of hanging off of it as the high jump team mascot, and we put it in the front of the rest of the hurdles, and every time we went over it we had to be really careful not to get stabbed by the broken crossbar.
My favorite moment with Coach Hartford was when he was desperately trying to get Coach Dobbins to admit that pole vaulting was fun, and the entire time he was trying to manipulate her into admitting it, and then once he failed he tried to manipulate the high jumper into admitting it. The whole time it was just a really lighthearted and casual moment.
I feel like Dwayne Johnson would play Coach Heen in a movie just because in a lot of the movies that Dwayne Johnson does, there's some relation to football, and also Coach Heen is really friendly and really nice to talk to, but he's not afraid to call you out. If you do something wrong, he's going to tell you did something wrong. So there's a lot of parallels that I can draw between Dwayne Johnson and Coach Heen.
Tom Hanks, just because they're both kind of funny and they look a little alike.
Last track season, when I was icing alone in the locker room and I was just listening to music, so I was jamming to Hips Don't Lie by Shakira, and I was full out blasting it and just jamming, and Coach John walked in on me full out jamming to Shakira, and I froze. I didn't know how he was going to react to that, and he was just good song, gave me a nod of appreciation and walked out, and I was all right, Coach.
If I were to describe Coach John in one word, it would be weird.
Motherly, both because she's literally a mother, but also because she's like a mother to everyone on the team.
Kombucha?
I know that it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's at first you're oh my god, it's bitter, but then you're oh my god, I like it, and it's really good for you and stuff, so that's why you would be kombucha.
Very nice, you guys. Very nice, you guys. Thank you very much. We all appreciate it, right, coaches? I'm sure we do. Okay, so I think we're gonna wrap it up now. I've got a couple slides I'm gonna share. Oops. And I really do want to thank you guys. You guys always do some nice videos for us. Whoops, wrong. Sorry. Sorry. It's not what I wanted to do. All right. You know, by the end of this quarantine, I'll actually get good at Zoom. And then it'll be too late. All right. So first of all, just want to thank all of you for tuning in. I want to thank you all for everything you've done all season, in one of the more difficult, challenging seasons that we could ever imagine. I do want to say, people have asked, we are having Friday. Oops, this is, what do I have here? I forgot I stuck this in. Oh, I wanted to make a couple of things, a couple of announcements. There's the senior awards. These are some things that Silvana and Viva put together. They didn't give me a shorter link, whoops, sadly. So I would rather you check with them. But anyway, or you could just write this down or memorize it or take a photograph of it. But I would recommend you just check with Sil and Viva. But there are awards for all the seniors that have been awarded. It was just a little much for tonight. The other thing I wanted to say was that we are going to keep our Friday Zoom calls, Friday team Zoom calls. They are, I mean, yes, they are distance oriented, but not completely distance oriented. They're team oriented. And I would really, really like to see, you guys use it. Frankly, we've got alumni who get onto this too. We are very much separated right now, and having things like this, if you find that getting on to Zoom and seeing a bunch of friends and knowing they're going to be there on Friday helps you keep a little sanity. Maybe that'll help you out. And we've had some really amazing speakers come join us besides our team. This is the list of people who've been here the last 5 weeks. And this week we have Josh Kerr and David Rivich are planning on joining us on Friday. Those are two guys who've both busted 4 in the mile, and they're going to be on the same call. I mean, that is legit speed. And they're going to be joining us on Friday. I think you'll get a kick out of them, but just keep tuning in, stay in touch. I mean, this is, in a sense, because this season has ended so abruptly, I'm not letting it end at all, even if it, in whatever form we can keep it. So please stick with us. It's, I'll keep working with you guys as long as you guys want to keep attending this. I also, having said that, while it is distance, you guys, we can all be cross runners. I mean, this is the only thing that all you need specialized is shoes. So you can have any shorts, any shirt, any socks. If you can't find a teammate right away, it's okay. If you're traveling in the future, if you're traveling, you can go running. So guys, I mean, this is again a way to stay connected. And I'll tell you again, as Coach John would nod his head, that Elliott's best year, he came back after a season across, and he was able to jump into those first set of 200s and be at the front and not be worn out and ask for more, right? So, I mean, especially now, this is a time, if you can find something that you can latch onto and keep you working and keep you active and keep you going, this is the time to do it. And, I still think that if there's one thing that might change this year, if I were in any other sport, not just track, is to think about doing some distance running just to stay in shape and just stay connected. I would, since I've got parents on the line here, if the one thing you do need is shoes, and this is another way to support local businesses. Chris Canoni is the owner of Running Revolution, and he gave me, this is his own personal cell phone, so go ahead and write that down. You can very socially, safely get these shoes. I mean, if you want, you can text him, tell him what you're looking for, call him up, give him your credit card number, pull up in front of the shop, pop your trunk, and he'll throw the shoes in there. Can't do much better than that. He'd probably deliver them to you too, but that might be nice. Tell him that Monte Vista called. But parents, if your kids say, oh, don't worry about new shoes, no, go get them new shoes. They need them. And as we say goodnight, and I know, this is something I thought we'd be longer than this, but you get me and to a lesser extent, Coach John here, and you give us a mic, and especially when you can't even make faces at us and wave pizza, then we're going to go longer. So thank you for hanging in there this evening. Be safe, stay connected to each other, stay in touch with us. Let us know how you're doing. We have made and we can still make good memories. So I'm going to say goodnight, but don't turn out yet. Don't turn out yet. I'm going to stop. Stop share here. I want to say goodnight to all you guys. Again, be safe. Take care of yourselves. If there's anything I can do, or any of the coaches you can do, reach out, even if you don't think of it's something that a track coach can help with. Maybe we can. And we'd like to. We want to be useful. You really are our kids. Okay. I'm probably milking this because I don't know when I'll see all you guys again. And it was great to see you tonight. I mean, this is something I've been looking forward to all week. The rest of my week is going to be just downhill because I won't be seeing you guys. So take care of yourselves, would you? I mean, this is a time when we all need to take care of ourselves and take care of each other. Really love you guys. And remember, even though this season was short, we did make some memories. So if we go over one more time to YouTube Live, we have one last video. Good night, everybody. Love you and take care.
I say running, you say pride. Running, pride, running, pride. Monte Vista, come alive. We are running pride.
Coach John he sent me a text. He has something that he wants to say too.
Sorry guys, I don't want to drag this on. He had asked me to maybe say a couple words. I'll keep it quick. I just want to say really quickly, huge thank you to Coach Flatow again. I live in Los Altos. I bump into Los Altos coaches with my wife walking almost every day. And I remember when we met as a team and explained what was going on with the season, she said, oh man, we should have done that. We didn't do that. And then I said, well, once the season was actually canceled, we got on this huge Zoom call and we met with the team. And she said, man, we should have done that. We didn't do that. And I saw her today at 5:30 walking around, and I said, oh, we have our banquet tonight. And she said, man, we're not doing that. Wow, you guys are good. So, not only does Coach line up a weekly list of Olympians and who's who in running, badassery, but the effort he puts in, and my clip-on bow tie it's failed. So I just really want to say thank you. I mean, I know how fortunate we are to have him put his heart and soul into all this. I hope you guys appreciate it as well, because so many other schools, they just went home. That was it. Through 2 months ago, whatever, it was like, hand in your jersey and get out. And, we're here right now. This isn't ideal. But that's certainly awesome. The only other thing I say, two really quick points, something we talked about when we all met in person, is just this attitude of being grateful. And, one of my favorite songs, it's all about, it's a choice to be grateful. You make that choice every single day. And it's so easy when times are tough like this to think about, how you were shortchanged and what's wrong and what's going bad. But I mean, there's just a zillion things to be grateful for. I just recommend everyone every single day, wake up and just think of a simple thing. You're grateful you've got a dog. You're grateful you're awake and alive, that we live in this awesome place where it's 70 degrees. And, if you focus on that, it makes it really hard to let the noise and the negatives drag you down. So that's the first thing. Again, just make that conscious choice to be grateful every single day. We had meets. I talked to my buddies from New York who coach. They got rained on and snowed on in February and March and didn't get a single meet. It was 70 degrees. The shootout was awesome. We got drone footage. We've got an invitational in the rain, but it was great. It was fun. We got to do a solo meet. So again, there's just so many things to be grateful for. I just really encourage you guys to focus on it. Personal thank you to everyone who wrote those emails in. Again, to Coach's point earlier, it might have taken you 5 minutes. It might have taken 10. If you're Viba and you wrote, silly jokes, and then a follow-up email, or Ananya, you wrote a playlist, Tria's note. I've saved it in my email because it's just so personal and so good. It's just one of those things where, if you haven't done something like that, there's plenty of time to do it. But those little things that it's very easy to dismiss. It's very easy to say, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll sleep in, I'll watch some movie, I'll play a video game. But the fact that basically when my friend and I started that campaign, I said, I think a couple kids would do it. And not only did you guys write these emails and paint and draw and playlist, but you got your friends to do it. I was getting CC'd on emails from people I don't even know. So we got hundreds of these emails that were posted up in one of the worst places in this crisis. So huge thank you. The second thing I just want to say, and this kind of reminds me of an ad campaign we did at Facebook. It was this huge Nike campaign, and the whole thing was about writing your future. And that was the thing. And I got a good book recommendation from my man Pranav. It's called Brave New World, if you haven't read it. But the whole concept there is that when you're born, your destiny's done. Someone else has written your future for you and you have no say in it. What I want to tell you guys is we're so lucky that's not the case. And whether or not you've done everything you wanted to do the last 2 months or you haven't, guess what? The book's not written yet. The book's not over. Your future's not written. Tomorrow you get the chance to wake up with a completely fresh piece of paper and you get to say, you know what? Here's what I want to write today. Because in 10 years, 20 years, when you're my age and you've got a little kid sleeping, next door, that kid's going to say, hey, Mom, what was it like when you guys were 18 in this crazy pandemic? What was that like? And you have the chance to write a story that goes something like Vivian's story. Oh, it was great. I organized this campaign with my friends and Sean and all the captains, and we raised money. We did silly things. Kyle shaved his head and I made my bottle look like Ramsey. Whatever it is, that's the chance. That's the story you can still write. It's not like this book's done just because we're ending our season. So that's just something I think about. And it's tough. Some days, honestly, my wife and I, we go on 4 walks with Tyler, we feed him, we hang out, and that's enough for the day. And that's okay. But there's some days where it's like, let's get up and get it. Let's write a good future. Let's find a charity and donate. Let's, bike 50 miles each to contribute to some cause. So again, stay positive, stay grateful, focus on the good. When I look back at the season and the story of this season, I'm going to think about, Maya in the rain cheering for kids who she barely knows just because they're wearing the same jersey as her. I'm going to think about how, again, I told you earlier, this friend of mine, this dad who he's like the crassest New Yorker ever. And he's bawling because this painting of his daughter is just beautiful and moved him to tears. So you all have the opportunity to make that difference every day. I encourage you to just carve out that time. Set your alarm for 30 minutes earlier, pop out of bed, and realize that we're so fortunate, we're so grateful, and we've got this blank slate that we can write every day. So make sure when you're my age and you're coaching, you're teaching, whatever you're doing, you're talking to your kids, you can look back and say, you know what, it was crazy, but I was part of the good that came out of this situation, because a lot of good happens every day. So I'm super proud, super grateful, humbled to be your coach, to know that people 3,000 miles away and beyond got a note from you and felt uplifted. It's awesome, Yeah. So be grateful, be positive. I love you guys. I miss you. That's it.
That was awesome. I am really glad. That was awesome. I turned it off. So yeah. So I'm really glad, John, you did that. And it is a good reminder. You look out in the future. This was you look out in the future, at some point, you're going to tell this story because there are going to be people asking you, what was it like in the great pandemic? And it would be perfectly fine if you said, for the first 2 months, I just sulked and leveled up on Fortnite. And then, if that's all you did for now, you still have time to write your own heroic ending of saying, and then there I was on this night where we did our track team banquet for a season that was 1 meet long. And there was something that Coach John said, or something that Coach Flatow said, or just the fact that, I got this chat thing that some friends said to me, and I decided I'm going to turn things around. And then this is what I did for the next 2 months, and then until the pandemic was over. And then you're a hero, because all heroes actually are tested and have their down moments, and they make their heroic journey to come back, and you can do that. All right. And so here are some memories. So Connor, now after all that, I think we're good to go. Connor, let it rip. Good night.
I say running, you say pride. Running, pride, running, pride. Motivation, come alive. We are running pride. Wow!
It's been a long day without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Damn, who knew? All the planes we flew, good things we've been through, that I'll be standing right here talking to you about another path. I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work forever pays. Now I see you in a better place. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I would do, you were standing there by my side. And now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
It's been a long day without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way, from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Everyone say hello. Are we gonna pass it all the way back?
Let's go.
Let's go.
First you both go out your way and the vibe is feeling strong. And what's small turn to a friendship turn to a bond. And that bond will never be broken, the love will never get lost. And when brotherhood come first, then the line will never be crossed. Established it on our own when that line had to be drawn. And that line is what we reach, so remember me when I'm gone. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side. And now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
It's been a long day without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all